Hi everybody.
P3.
Welcome back. P3 is all about solving. If you take a peek at your...
You didn't put the marker up on the... There you go.
Sorry.
Okay.
Technology. You take a look and you're learning targets.
Solve.
Solve.
Next page.
We're solving.
Okay, we're going to solve. You've
All
done
right.
this before.
A lot. Like letter A, you should just pause the video now and just fix it. Okay?
Go for it. What do we do first?
We're going to distribute.
Distribute.
Distribute a negative here. Be careful.
Yep, that's where people are going to screw this problem up. I guarantee you if you get this wrong on your next quiz, it's going to be because you forgot the negative sign.
Oh, you mean the quiz looks like the notes?
Almost exactly.
How cool is
Weird,
that?
huh? Okay, combine all your like terms. That's negative 18b. I don't care what people think about their positive negative numbers. And get all your b's to one side.
Alrighty.
Which side do you want to put them on?
I always like to start with the littlest b, so I would add 18b here and get 19b over there.
All right. You notice she's not writing plus 19 or 18b on both sides.
It should be obvious what I did.
Yeah, you're welcome to write it, but it's just a lot of work and extra effort. What else can we do in the same step?
We're going to add the 17 over there.
Add the
and get
17 and get 8, and then divide by 19.
Yep, that was a B, remember? It doesn't really look like a B,
For some
but it
reason,
was.
she decided to divide by 19 in the last step. But anyway, b is equal to
What did I do right?
8/19. You're fine.
Okay.
I'm just giving you a hard time. You didn't do anything wrong.
Okay.
B is now our problem. What's B got in it that we don't like about it?
We don't like fractions.
I like fractions, though.
Well, we like fractions, but you don't like fractions.
We
so
know
we're
you.
going to show you how to get rid of
You
the
may
fractions.
only have been in this class for 2 days, but we know you don't like fractions.
We know
Okay?
that.
So as long as it's an equation, we can get rid of fractions.
Because what we do to one side, we do to the other.
So what
can pick
can we
anything
do
we
to
want.
get rid of this fraction?
We're going to multiply by the least common denominator
The LCD.
so that the fractions, in effect, go away or cancel or reduce.
So we're picking something that 4 and 6 both go into.
Yep. One
All right.
thing to remember is that when you multiply, by the way, we could have picked 24, but we just picked the smallest one we could, which
It's
is
called
12.
the least common denominator,
It
not
makes your
just
life easier.
some random common one.
Right. Remember that 12 is being multiplied by all three pieces. So it has to be multiplied by the first fraction, the second fraction, and the number on the other side of the equals sign.
I'll do 12 times 1.
Okay.
You take the other half.
He's so helpful. So we could distribute 12 into x plus 3, but that's not the easiest way. The easiest way is to recognize that 12 divided by 4 is
3.
okay.
That was the whole point.
Was to make it go away.
Yes.
Okay. Don't forget this minus sign in the middle.
Minus signs are really
it's really
important.
How many times does 6 go into 12?
2.
Okay.
And how do we know it's always going to go into that number?
Because we picked the least common denominator.
Because if it doesn't, you screwed up the least common denominator.
Right. Okay, you said 12 times 1. Come
I
on,
got
Mikey.
that 12.
All right.
Hey, this problem looks just like the last one.
It does, so I'm just going to go.
Go for it. Distribute the 3, distribute the negative 2, which makes a positive 2 there. Then we're going to combine like terms. We get x plus 11. Then we're going to subtract 11. We get x equals
Again,
1.
notice he said subtract 11 because he thought subtract 11, but he didn't actually write it. Subtract
I
11.
didn't write anything. She wrote the whole
Okay.
problem.
What's
Okay.
the other thing we should always do when we solve equations?
Probably check our work.
Probably check our work. So at bare minimum, you should put 1 in up there and say, oh, look, 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 over 4 is 1.
1 minus 1 is
Okay.
0. 0 divided by 6 is 0. 1 minus 0 is 1. Did you check it? Oh, I checked it. Okay, we're good.
Okay.
All right, next one. Oh my God, there's bigger numbers.
More fractions.
So we need some number that 15 and 25 go into.
Okay.
Well, that's going to hurt.
Let's start with, okay, if you're having troubles with this, you can think of 15 as 3 times 5. And you can think of 25 as 5 times 5. So we're going to need all those pieces represented somewhere. So if I need a 3 piece and a 5 piece and another 5 piece.
You notice that 3 times 5 makes 15, but the 5 times 5 made 25?
Okay, so we're using part of each one.
That's 75, by the way.
75, so that's our LCD.
Could you have stood there and go, well, 25 times 2 is 50?
You could.
50. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're trying to get you to start thinking in terms of what's going to help later in this chapter.
A little quicker.
It's like
Okay.
we have a plan. All right, so how many times does 15 go into 75?
I was stuck on we have a plan. Apparently 5.
Apparently 5, because that 15 took care of the 3 and the 5, and now she's writing on the other side of the board.
I was going to say, when you write, I can't write.
But the 5 is now the only thing that's left. Then we have this plus 4. What do we do with that?
Well, that's just like our 1 in the last problem. So 75 times 4 would be?
300.
Yes,
I
it would.
cheated. I multiplied it on my paper.
I would have
Okay.
just gone 75 times 2 is 150, like $1.50. Times it by 2 again.
She's smart. All right, 25 goes into 75.
3 times.
3 times, and we got to distribute that to 2x plus 1. And now we've just got distribute, combine like terms, move all the x's to the same side.
You get a top because my voice is scraggly.
5x minus 25 plus 300 equals 6x plus 3. And now we're going to combine like terms on the left side. We get 5x.
Oh, sorry, I would have minus to 5x.
Oh, fine. She just subtracted 5x.
Hold on. Okay, I'm ready.
Let's combine it. We got negative 25 plus 300 is 275. That was a plus sign that didn't get plussed. All right, equals 6x plus 3. Now we're going to subtract 5x from both sides. We get x on one side. Subtract 3, we get 272, which if you checked, will work.
Ta-da!
Moving along.
That's it.
Guess what we're going to do now?
Now we got to solve some more stuff.
Solve, solve, solve. That was our learning targets,
We're
right?
going to solve some inequalities. You should
Let's
write
solve
now.
some inequalities. All right.
Here, I get this part.
What's the difference between an equation and an inequality?
That little symbol right there, the alligator dude.
And really, we treat it the same exact way, don't we?
We do, and then we're going to tie this back into the last lesson we talked about.
That's awesome.
So we got some fractions. We got a 2 and a 5. Least common denominator would be 10.
10. We're going to multiply this whole thing by a 10.
By a 10. So 2 goes into 10.
2 goes into 5 times. So we got
5 times 2y minus 3.
plus
5 goes into 10 twice, so 2 times 3y minus 1.
Then we have a less than sign, and
Here's the
multiplying
correct
by
symbol.
10 does not change that. What does change the inequality sign?
Multiplying or dividing by negative,
So if you ever multiply or divide by negative, you got to turn that
Yeah.
thing around. Don't forget.
which is why I start with the smallest variable when I'm simplifying.
Then we're going to multiply 10 times y and minus 1. So
Ooh,
that's
we
just
better distribute that.
10y minus 10. Is that okay?
That's great.
Don't forget to do both of them,
'Kay.
because those are individual terms.
All right, so the rest of the solving just keeps working the same way. We're going to distribute 10y minus 15 plus 6y minus 2.
Say less than.
Combine our like terms.
That's
So 16y minus 17. Okay.
Move all your variables to one side. So
And again, this is where what I was mentioning. If I start with the smallest 10y and I subtract it on both sides, it's less likely that I'm going to end up with a negative. That's all that happens.
absolutely.
So this is from Algebra 1. You could probably handle this. Y is less than
What are
7/6.
the rest of our directions,
However, the directions say to graph it on a number line and write it in interval notation. That sounds an awful lot like P1.
It was like the last class.
Sounds exactly like it.
We did it about 10 minutes ago. All right.
Tell them our secrets.
Okay, so let's
Okay.
go up here and let's graph.
So for graphing, we need 7/6 and a couple more numbers.
How about 8/6 and 6/6?
Okay,
Does that work for you?
beautiful.
All right, that's 1 and whatever 8/6 reduces to 4
1 and
thirds.
4/3.
Okay, anyway,
4/3.
are we including 7/6?
We are not, so it's an open circle.
It's an open circle. And are we going less than or greater than?
We're going less than, so go to the
So we're
right.
going this way. There's our graph. That side of the number line is negative infinity.
So now we
So
need
in interval notation, we are negative infinity to 7/6. We are open on both ends.
Okay. So now, since again this is pre-calc, you will always be expected to give your answer on interval notation.
Intervals
Intervals.
are our friends. Next one.
Ooh,
this
lots of
looks
fractions.
fun.
Okay, well we have a couple of choices. We could distribute first if we wanted, or
Yes, you
since
could.
there are fractions, we could go back to our rule a second ago, multiply by the least common denominator.
So what's the common denominator between 2 and 4?
4.
4. So we're going to multiply this whole thing by 4. Now here is where it's really cool to do this, but you got to be careful that you understand all these rules.
The kicker.
Okay?
Again, from last class, the rule was the associative property of multiplication.
This is one big giant term because it's multiplied together. If you distribute it, it's 2 terms.
Correct.
But if you leave it before you distribute, it's still single term. So you're going to multiply 4 by 1/4 x minus 4, which cancels the 4,
Yes.
because 4 goes into 4 how many times?
1.
And then we have a 1 times x minus 4. Then we have a minus x, but it gets multiplied by 4. That's another term. So
So
that's
minus 4x.
4x.
Is less than or equal to.
Greater than or equal to.
Thank you, greater than or equal to.
5 halves times 3 minus x is one term. It's all multiplied together. So 2 goes into 4 how many times?
2 times
2.
the 5.
But we got the 5 up here, then we got to multiply by that 2. So it's 5 times 2 is 10 times 3 minus x.
I was
that
gonna-
okay?
Yes, great.
Okay, let's continue.
Okay.
Let's distribute the 1. That's not hard. And distribute the 10.
The cool part about both of us doing this videos is we're trying to find a good balance between, keep going,
Who does what?
yeah, between who does what, and,
Combine like terms.
and to show you, sometimes we will show you both methods to do things because some of you are going to like one way and some are going to like the other.
Add 10x to 3x, negative 3x to 7x.
Remember,
Add 4.
if we lose you on any of these problems, you should make a big star in your notes and
Big
ask
star.
us when you come to class.
Did I get it
Okay.
right?
I don't know, did you? 34 sevenths. All right, so now we need to graph our inequality again. So we need
Grab it.
34 sevenths,
34 sevenths. Guess what the other two numbers are going to be?
35 sevenths,
Which is 5, by the way.
and 33 sevenths.
Which is less than 5. Okay. We're going equal to it, so we have a
Close dot.
solid closed dot. And we're going greater than, which is off to infinity world. So we have bracket 34 sevenths, comma, infinity, open.
Very good.
Parentheses. Piece of cake.
Okay,
Yes?
one more example.
You want to do this one?
All right, you talk.
Okay. What's
Did you
different
notice
about
he
this
can't
example?
You can't.
I can't not
When
talk.
you write, you talk.
I do. I can't do one thing.
I can be quiet. My voice hurts anyway.
Can you still see me? I don't know. All right. Anyway,
Come closer.
we have how many pieces now, or
We have-
sides?
We have 3 sides. How do you do that?
It just means 3x plus 4 is between -2 and 5.
Oh, right.
So we're going to get an answer that says x is between two numbers. That's what we're going to get. So
Okay.
what we're going to do is treat this like we're solving for 3x plus 4. If we could ignore one side or the other, pick a side.
Okay.
Like 3x, -2 less or equal to 3x plus 4. What would you do to solve that?
You would minus 4.
You would subtract 4. Now if we had 3x plus 4 was less than 5, we would also subtract 4, wouldn't we?
Okay.
So why don't we just subtract 4 from all 3 pieces at the same time?
I know this is a little confusing. We might have lost you, so we are actually going to write it out this
Yeah,
time.
you don't have to anyway, but you can. It makes more sense in this problem. So the left side is -6. The middle is now just 3x, and the right side is 1.
Okay.
Now, how do I get rid of 3 if I'm multiplying 3 times x?
Oh, we just divide by 3.
So we do what we do to one side, we do to all 3 sides now. How's that?
All 3 pieces.
All 3
Want to
pieces.
stay balanced.
-2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 1/3. And now we just have to graph it. That means that x is between -2 and 1/3, including the -2. Just put a 1/3 over
Thank
there
you.
somewhere. We don't want to count those.
You don't really.
We use a solid dot at -2 and an open circle at 1/3. You have a hard time coloring in her circles.
That's solid. Right there.
Yeah. Pretend.
I got it.
Killing me here.
Okay, is that all we had to do? Solve and graph.
That.
We didn't say to do that,
Ow.
but we're going to do that anyway.
I didn't read the directions. Sorry.
He's just like you.
Haha. Don't insult them yet. They still might like
sorry.
us. Okay. I think we're done.
If it had asked for an inequality,
Or an interval.
an interval, then that's what you would do.
We're done.
We're done.